Frank Januzzi, a former Democratic staffer on the United States Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, is not surprised that President Donald Trump canceled his planned summit with North Korea, and he calls it a classic example of the president's incompetence. Writing on Twitter, Januzzi says that the problem started when the president misread the reasons that Kim was willing to engage in negotiations in the first place. While granting that Trump's maximum pressure campaign did help, he said that the election of South Korean President Moon Jae-in and his subsequent efforts to start peace talks was arguably an even more important factor. Not understanding why diplomacy was an option, no surprise Trump badly mishandled the opportunity he was gifted, he writes. He continued to threaten the DPRK, Libya model references, even during immediate run-up to the summit. Januzzi then takes aim at Trump's bizarre letter to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, and he noted that the letter is difficult to comprehend even for native English speakers, let alone for the governments in North and South Korea. Trump's early morning letter is a classic example of his incompetence, barely coherent, full of internal contradictions, at once conciliatory and deeply provocative, threatening, in essence, a nuke strike on DPRK, he writes. The letter should never have been sent. And yet, the letter was sent. Januzzi says that the North Koreans will interpret this as showing that Trump cannot be a reliable negotiating partner for any kind of peace treaty. At this point, best course of action for USA would be to go quiet on this issue for several months, and hope that they can reboot the diplomatic overture, he explains. But since when has Trump shown an ability to keep quiet about anything? He will likely sulk, and play the blame game. Read the whole thread below. Handed a chance to put US-DPRK relations on a better trajectory, headed in direction of peace and denuclearization, Trump misinterpreted how we got here. He attributed DPRK willingness to talk to his max pressure campaign alone, ignoring the two more important factors. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. When DPRK, predictably, objected to the Libya threats by Bolton and then by VP, the reaction was actually quite muted, handed down by two foreign ministry officials, Kim Ki-Gwan and Cho Sun-wei. They basically said, don't bully us into talks. This was a mild response. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. Had Trump and his team understood DPRK, they would have cleverly maneuvered the North into talks, making Pyongyang believe that the denuclearization talks were their idea. Instead, Trump insisted, again predictably, on hogging all the credit for something not yet accomplished. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. Where does this leave us? Trump's early morning letter is a classic example of his incompetence, barely coherent, full of internal contradictions, at once conciliatory and deeply provocative, threatening, in essence, a nuke strike on DPRK. The letter should never have been sent. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. Where does that leave us? DPRK has no doubt by now sized up our president, and found him to be a completely unreliable negotiating partner, e.g. Iran withdrawal, TPP withdrawal, Paris Accord withdrawal, threats one day, concessions the next. They will not easily re-engage. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. Moreover, DPRK has secured its flanks, improved relations with China and Iraq, leaving USA isolated in its attempt to assemble maximum pressure on DPRK going forward. DPRK makes USA appear to be the party walking away from diplomacy. A huge diplomatic defeat for USA. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. At this point, best course of action for USA would be to go quiet on this issue for several months, and hope that they can reboot the diplomatic overture. But since when has Trump shown an ability to keep quiet about anything? He will likely sulk, and play the blame game. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. I am in Seoul this week, meeting with our allies. I can report that this announcement takes ROC completely by surprise. They had no inkling that Trump was about to pull the plug on the summit. So once again, damage done, serious harm to U.S. credibility as an ally. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. ROC will respond responsibly, maturely. They will sleep on this horrible development, and no doubt issue a modest, careful, controlled and hopeful message tomorrow, looking forward to a summit meeting in the future. But inside, they will be seething mad, disappointed, crushed. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018. Trump is all about Trump, and so now, having soured on the summit, he will almost certainly exacerbate the crisis by upping the ante at each appearance, amping up his bellicose rhetoric, just as he previously had veered dangerously towards sucking up to KJU. Frank Januzzi, at Frank Januzzi, May 24, 2018.